Have you done Slimming World over and over again? If so, you need to watch this video so you don't make the same mistake yet again. In this video, I'm going to talk you through Emma's journey, what common mistakes she made, and how not to let that happen to you so you can get weight loss success. I'm Harry, and I help women around the world break free from dieting and lose weight for good by fixing their emotional eating so they can finally have food freedom and live the life they deserve. So I chatted to Emma, and she was happy to share her personal journey and her weight loss challenges to give you an insight into how hard weight loss can be when you're trying to do life, and show you that you're not alone in this struggle. So what I'm going to do is walk you through Emma's weight loss journal from Facebook and make an observation about each post. And the aim of this is to relate to things that you go through week to week, plus highlight from an expert's point of view if there's a mistake or trap that Emma is falling into. And prior warning, there are quite a few. So Emma started her Slimming World journey in July 2021 and lost 6.5 pounds. Well done, Emma. As you've probably experienced, when you start a new diet, there's often a big weight loss. And this is because it's not all fat, right? You're dropping a lot of water weight too. And remember that weight loss is different to fat loss. The big initial drop is important because it sets up an expectation for the weeks to come. And it's unrealistic to lose 6.5 pounds of fat every week. 1 to 2 pounds is usually great. Week 2, and Emma lost another 3 pounds, a big loss. Being ill probably contributed to that, as she said about eating less. And also there's a metabolism increase she would have got to fight off the illness as well. Again, I want to focus on the 9.5 pounds weight loss in the first 2 weeks and the expectation that that brings going forward. So into week 3, and Emma lost a pound, which is good progress for a diet. However, her mindset around it of, oh, it's still a loss, I'll take it, suggests she's anchored to those bigger previous numbers. So she's a bit disappointed with that just a pound. However, what I find with most people is that they hate the diet they're doing, but they need to lose weight. And this means that they are obligating themselves to put up with the diet to get the weight off. And this drives them to want it off as quickly as possible, so they don't have to endure eating this way forever. So I hope you can see what will happen going forward with this mindset. The other thing I want to highlight here is that Emma got an award, but it was for the weight loss and not the healthy habits she's built. And this is important, and I'll come back to it in a few minutes. Watch on. Over the next 2 weeks, Emma loses 0.5 pound and then another pound more, for a total of 12.5 pounds in 5 weeks. It looks like it's going really well, and she says she's feeling pretty good about everything. However, as you're about to see, things take a turn. Week 6 was the first gain for Emma. She mentioned that she went out for a meal on the weekend and links the weight gain to that. She also mentions that she was extra hungry at the beginning of the week and ate more, but she doesn't say what she did eat. I want to really emphasize here that your weekly weigh-in doesn't tell you much in terms of your overall progress. Weight goes up and down every day, and your weigh day is just a snapshot of that week. You may have lost fat, but it might be hidden by water weight. And then Emma said, I'm going to be 100% on plan from now on, which, number one, is a reaction to her feeling like the weight gain was because she went out for a meal and off plan. And number two, it shows that Slimming World is already restrictive for her, making her feel like she didn't do well enough because she went out for a meal. It could have been that she still did lose fat, but it was masked by water retention, which often happens after eating out. So my final point here is that Emma says she's going to try and get 2.5 pounds off next week. She's setting herself a goal that's outside her control here. You can't control what the scale says, but you can control the behaviors and habits you tick off every day towards that. She could do really well and be very consistent with her habits, but disappointed if there's still not a 2.5 pound weight loss at the end of the week. Week 7, and this week Emma's routine was a little different. She had a weekend away with the family, and it seems like a few of the weekdays were harder to plan for food-wise, as she mentions pizza for dinner and back on Slimming World tomorrow. This is the second time in a couple of weeks that Slimming World rules don't fit in with Emma's lifestyle, and it's making her have the black and white mindset of, I can't do the diet perfectly today, so what's the point? I'll start again tomorrow when I can do it properly. Keep watching, as this is where things take a bit of a spiral for Emma. On her next weigh-in, Emma has put back on 5 pounds. And she openly states it's because of eating bad food and that she wasn't following the plan. Her reaction is to go harder and be more focused, which seems good, but if you're finding a diet hard to follow, making it even more precise and rigid is actually the opposite of what you need to do. It's then even easier to fall off, as we'll see. The next entry for Emma isn't positive like she'd hoped. She actually put all the weight back on and she's disheartened. Of course she would be. After this, there's a very emotional post which just shows how much of a struggle Emma is going through. And just a note here, for all those people that say that weight loss is just about eating less and moving more, it's so much more than that. Emma's stuck in the cycle of feeling bad, so then eating to feel better, and then beating herself up because she's not sticking to her plan. And she's finding it hard to follow through with what she wants because of the emotional eating pulling her back in the opposite direction every time. Cravings can make weight loss really emotional because it can feel like something takes over you and that you have no control over your own actions. And it's really important to get help fixing this if you want to succeed long term. November, and Emma starts Slimming World again. She's happy because she's lost a whopping 7.5 pounds in the first week. Why wouldn't you be, right? However, what Emma is failing to see is that she's falling into the same trap again and going to repeat the same mistakes that she made before. The question I'm asking is, what's going to be different this time? And why would it be any different if she hasn't changed anything? Her strategy seems to aim to be even more focused and even more on the diet, which, as I mentioned before, doesn't work if you're finding it hard to stick to in the first place. The next couple of weeks follow a similar pattern to before. 1.5 pounds off and then another ½ pound off. However, the following week, Emma's got a few things coming up and she openly states that she's not going to follow the plan. She already decided that she can't stick to Slimming World rules, so she won't. And this is a big problem with diets with rigid rules. They're very black and white, and when you feel you can't follow them to the letter, you end up doing nothing at all. And obviously you get 0 results then. Following the last post, Emma starts to realize the cycle that she's in. As Christmas is coming up, she thinks, what's the point? Most likely because she'll undo any hard work she's put in, and again, she won't be able to follow the diet at Christmas anyway. She also points to life being busy, so she can't be bothered to count sins all the time. She writes that she'll start again in January. A lot of people start their diet in January because there are usually less distractions and it's easier to control. However, you don't learn the valuable lessons you need to if you clear a path to do your diet in perfect conditions. This is why you fail. You need to be able to do life and the diet at the same time for best long-term results. And that means putting yourself in the trenches and making mistakes that you can learn from. Emma starts 2022 with an emotional post. Her weight loss is mentioned, but she doesn't really set a specific goal around it or have a plan. She rejoins Slimming World, as she mentioned she would do previously. The first weigh-in, and Emma has lost 5.5 pounds. Can you see where this is going? The next week she loses 3 pounds and wins Slimmer of the Week award. A note on this, it's based on weight loss rather than effort and habits, which I don't really think is a very healthy focus. It makes people do unhealthy things to get as much weight off as possible. It's much better to reward effort, as you're not always going to see a loss every week. But I get it, you're comparing yourself to so many other people, and the weight loss number is the only thing that they see. So moving forward, and Emma loses 2 pounds off the following week, which means 9.5 pounds total so far this year. The next week, Emma is a bit emotional. She feels she's followed the plan, but gained 1.5 pounds. Remember what I said before, weight loss is not the same as fat loss, and she may have lost size, and the weight could have been masked by water retention. So with Slimming World, there's way too much focus on weight, which has got her down. The following week, Emma loses 0.5 pound and she's feeling better about her progress again. So you can see it's very related to what the scale says rather than the effort that she's putting in. And now, as we all know, weight loss is a roller coaster and things can change quickly. On the next check-in, Emma is in a low moment again. She decided that Slimming World isn't for her. She's sick of stinning food and it's making her feel guilty. She decides to change and give calorie counting a go. So with calorie counting, she starts to lose a bit of weight, but then it stalls, so she doesn't know what to do. Like a lot of people, Emma needs to see constant weight loss progress to stay motivated and stick to the diet. And this is one of the big things that hold people back. They base their motivation on something that fluctuates, the scale. So no wonder the motivation is going to fluctuate as well. As a result, Emma joins Slimming World again and loses 4.5 pounds in the first week. That same cycle once again. The next week, Emma doesn't lose any weight. She's very frustrated about it as she feels she's put in a lot of effort into sticking to the diet. Others in her group seem to be getting success. Why isn't she? Here, it's really obvious that Emma doesn't want to be on the diet and she needs her weight to constantly go down to justify what she's doing. Otherwise, those what's the point thoughts appear. However, she clarified that she's gonna stick to Slimming World because she's sick of leaving and rejoining all the time. Emma's summer plays out pretty much as it did the previous year, with her making little progress because of life getting in the way and being on and off the diet all the time. November comes around and Emma decides that Slimming World isn't working at all for her, so we'll give calorie counting another go. It's 6 weeks until Christmas, so she has a goal to see how much weight she can get off by then. Just before Christmas, Emma visits her GP, and unfortunately, she's diagnosed with pre-diabetes. Her doctor tells her that it can be reversed with healthy diet and exercise. Emma decides that 2023 will be her year, and she'll get the weight off now that she's got a serious reason to. However, looking back, you can tell me now, how will 2023 be different for Emma, considering what's happened so far on her journey? Emma feels that her problem is either motivation or she's not being good enough sticking to the plan. It's very easy to feel in the moment when you're suddenly motivated again that everything's going to be different this time around. But if we look at everything so far, Emma hasn't identified her issues or learned anything to make 2023's dieting different. From my point of view, as a nutritionist, she needs to, 1, have a better eating plan that fits in with her lifestyle, so she's not on and off the diet the whole time when she's doing family stuff. Number 2, change her focus to reward herself for living in alignment with her values and building healthy habits, rather than chasing weight numbers. And this puts her back in control because she can physically control her daily actions. She can't control the scale number. And number 3, get help to fix her emotional eating, as she stated that this pulls her back all the time. So 2023 starts and Emma feels that calorie counting will work for her this year, now that Christmas is over. The GP advised her to go low carb, so she's sticking to her calories and reducing her carbs as well. And it's working quite well, as what she's done without realizing it is she's choosing lower calorie foods which are higher in volume. And this is a bit of a revelation for her and quite motivating. So Emma loses a bit more weight with the calorie counting over the next few weeks. However, her next post takes a negative turn again. Like a lot of people, Emma gets sick of counting calories and weighing all her food. So she's having a cheat day, and she states she just wants to switch off and not think about food. And this is a really common concern for a lot of people. The food chatter in their head creates a lot of stress when dieting, and sometimes it's just easier to get rid of it the easiest way, and that's having time off the diet. As I mentioned before, Emma didn't fix the problem she needed to succeed on her diet. She just replaced her old diet, Slimming World, with a different one, calorie counting, so is now encountering similar issues. She posted a few more posts throughout the year, starting and stopping calorie counting a few times, with a few slip-ups. At no point does she give herself feedback and thinks about what she can change. She just blames it on her ability to stick to the diets and picks herself up and starts again and again and again. This pattern continues throughout the year. Christmas comes close again, and this gives Emma a push. She's again very focused on the numbers. When she's losing weight, milestones are very important to her. She often gets close to hitting a round figure and then is thrown off course when she doesn't lose weight for a few weeks or so. And this is keeping Emma in her yo-yo cycle. 2024 begins for Emma, and she's been off the diet over Christmas and she's put on 9 pounds. She noted that she's disgusted with herself. Basically, this indicates she doesn't like who she is or how she acts. And along with people across the world, Emma sets out on her January diet. And the pattern starts again. Emma's really happy with her first 5 pound weight loss after starting Slimming World yet again. The next week, Emma's then disheartened because of the effort she's put in and not seeing results this early into the diet. This just shows that she needs to see continual results to justify doing Slimming World. The following week, Emma does lose weight, a pound, which she dismisses because of the previous 5 pound loss, which set an unrealistic expectation. And also previous times she has dieted, the weight has come off faster as well. Remember what I said before, 1 pound weight loss weekly over 6 months would be 26 pounds or almost 2 stone. So if she'd been able to lose 1 pound consistently per week without being so rigid and strict with herself, she'd be in a lot better place than she is now, chasing those big numbers. The next week is Emma's birthday week, and she wants to enjoy herself, so she doesn't even consider following rigid Slimming World rules or counting anything. And of course, the next week comes around and the same pattern's repeating itself. Slimming World just doesn't fit into Emma's life. Her birthday threw her into off the diet mode, and she's put 6 pounds back on. Her friend tried to help her feel better by saying it's her birthday, so she deserves it. But I don't feel that that should mean that self-care goes out the window and you shouldn't treat yourself well at the same time. But I get it, she feels restricted, and birthdays are a time of celebration and fun. And she doesn't feel like she can be healthy and enjoy her birthday at the same time. Week 7, and Emma got back on the wagon with Slimming World, but isn't happy with her 2 pound loss because she felt like she's in a race to undo the damage from her birthday. And she's just making up for what she put back on and 2 pounds isn't enough for her. She endured the diet to get the last 6 pounds off, and she got to endure it again to get the same 6 pounds off. So I can see how that makes her feel disheartened. And this mindset comes from doing an unsustainable diet that you hate, plus feeling like you can't be happy until you reach your goal. And if you're stuck like Emma in this horrible diet cycle, you need to watch this video next.